Hello, my name is Sam Kelly, and I'm going to do a presentation over parents' involvement in children's sports and how it is covered in research and the media. There are many reasons why this presentation is important. Participation in youth sports has been dropping in the last 10 years. The obesity rate in the United States has been increasing for many years. One of the reasons might be because of the decline in participation in youth sports. And coverage from the media has increased when it comes to parents causing scenes at children's sporting events. During this presentation, I am going to argue that parents trying to get their children involved in sports produces an overall positive effect in children. To help argue this point, I will use findings from 3 academic research articles. The first one is Kramer, Sadlick, and Kim from 2007. Kramer, Sadlick, and Kim followed around 32 families in the Los Angeles area that had 2 or 3 children with at least one child between ages 8 and 10. Parents making their children play in sports leagues can lead to children acquiring important traits and values. In formal sports, such as organized sports leagues, children can gain self-confidence as well as become more resilient. The interactions parents have with children during and after their sporting events can have a big impact on children. One of these examples could be if a mom is optimistic about their child and the team, then the child is more likely to be optimistic. Informal sports such as pickup games and playing against a sibling can help increase the child's competitiveness and sportsmanship. I know I had a sibling when I have a sibling and I always want to be better than them, so that increases competitiveness. Passive sports participation, such as watching games on television, can also be a tool used by parents to teach children about certain traits like loyalty. An example that was shown in this study was that a kid named Michael was watching a Red Wings-Ducks game in the NHL playoffs. And Michael started rooting for the Red Wings, even though he had a birthday party at a Ducks game once. And his parents taught him that you should be rooting for the Ducks because they were loyal to you, and thus you should be loyal to them. Other research was done by Beetz, Vogel, Chapman, Petetti, and Cardinal in 2007. 39 girls and 29 boys ages in grades 3 through 5 in a rural district in the Midwest participated in the study. Parents of these children were supposed to fill out a questionnaire to measure social support for physical activity in their children's lives. The children also wore pedometers that measured the physical activity the children were going through during the study. Overall, they found that parents are an important component in the development of both health-enhancing and health-compromising behaviors of their children. It will get in more detail on the next slide. Findings showed that fathers doing activities with their children was positively associated with increased activity levels for boys, while mothers paying recreational fees was associated with increased physical activities for girls. This could go with societies like gender norms, where males are usually more active than females, where participating in sports is usually more common for men as opposed to girls, where mothers are just supposed to be quiet and just support their child through indirect ways, such as paying for recreational fees. Social support is one of the primary mechanisms parents use to encourage physical activity. So if a parent encourages their son to go out for a football team and be active, then the child is more likely to is going to be more active and will show more signs of happiness. Another research was done by Terman in 2007. Parents use 3 factors to appeal to a child to prevent them from quitting a sport: activation of interpersonal commitment, expertise, and rewarding behaviors. 103 males and 173 female students in an introductory communication course at a Midwestern university with varying levels of sports participation were involved in the study. They were asked how would their parents try to prevent them from quitting a sport in the middle of the season, and then were given a list of options to respond how likely their parent would use this to try to prevent them from quitting. As we said, the three factors that parents most commonly use were interpersonal commitment, expertise, and rewarding behaviors. Interpersonal commitments can include parents bringing up that you would be letting the team down and would be disappointing other members of your family. Expertise includes parents bringing up that that the child would be depriving themselves at becoming better at a certain skill, or saying that you will be delaying yourself in becoming better disciplined. Rewarding behavior can include parents promising to reward their child if they finish their season, or threatening to take privileges away from their child if they quit in the middle of the season. An example of this could be a father promising his son an allowance if he finished a raise in his allowance if he finishes the football season, or a mother for threatening to take the keys to her daughter's car away if her daughter doesn't finish basketball season. Terman also tested out the parents' side of this. 13 fathers and 17 mothers with at least one child in at least one organized high school or junior high sports team in the Midwest were involved in the study. Parents were asked about their role as a parent of a child playing sports, as well as how they would react if their child wanted to quit in the middle of the season. Terman noticed that parents could be separated into two different roles when it comes to involvement in their children's sporting lives. Those two roles were supporter and encourager, and teacher and mentor. The supporter and encourager role, which 19 of the parents fell under, just so that they would just be involved in taking the kids to practice, attending games, and being supportive from the stands. And while the 11 parents that fell under the teacher and mentor role, they would be more directly involved in their child's sporting lives. They would be more likely to coach their kids. And these parents often thought that their children would learn life lessons better if the parents were involved. The majority of the parents, 22 to be exact, said that they would hear out their child if they wanted to quit in the middle of the season, but then would try to appeal to their child about the commitment they made to the team. That kind of aligns itself with research said earlier on the previous slide about interpersonal commitment. So just to review the academic research that was shown so far, parents making their children play in sports leagues can lead to children acquiring important traits and values. Parents are an important component in the development of both health-enhancing and health-compromising behaviors of their children. Social support is one of the primary mechanisms parents use to encourage physical activity. Parents use three factors to appeal to a child to prevent them from quitting sports, such as interpersonal commitment, expertise, and rewarding behaviors. Parents could be separated into two different roles when it comes to involvement in their children's sporting lives: supporter/encourager and teacher/mentor. Now we will delve into the media coverage that is given to parents of children who play sports. It is usually actually very negative, as we'll see in the next two articles that are presented. Ana Veciana Suarez wrote an article in the Miami Herald condemning obnoxiousness of parents at youth sporting events. Veciana Suarez brought up the point that parents often live vicariously through their children in hopes they get a college scholarship or a professional contract. This can be shown by parents yelling at their kids and sometimes even other kids, and that may result in fights between other parents. Youth sports leagues have a hard time keeping and recruiting referees and umpires, and now Veciana Suarez made it important to note that the National Federation of State High School Associations say 80% of officials stop officiating after 3 years due to the abuse that parents can be given, and it's shown that referees get abuse not just on the field but off the field, like they would get threats online. Another article was written by Bill Plaschke at the Los Angeles Times about a story about a dad who pushed his son too hard. Mark Cullen was a college basketball player at UCLA, and he had a son, Aiden. Mark Cullen always regretted that he was not good enough to make it to the pros, so he wanted to make sure that Aiden could be the best he could be, which is why Mark felt like he was living through Aiden. Aiden was taught by his father to be tough and keep playing through pain. And there are a couple of scary examples that were shown in the story, such as he when he was 8, he chipped a tooth while he fell during a basketball game, but he just kept continuing to play. And another even scarier example was that he even passed out of dehydration and exhaustion at the end of a soccer game when he was 11. And it turned out that he would be iced up and played a game just a few hours later. Aiden played through the pain, and Aiden wound up being in so much pain that he developed central pain syndrome because he played while he was hurt too much. Central pain syndrome is basically a body disorder where your central nervous system just produces pain, and you just feel pain all the time, which definitely, obviously, ended Aiden's playing career. Now that we have gone through both research and media, we will try to connect both. Research has shown that parents play a big part in their children being physically healthy. Parents can help their children develop traits with the use of sports. Parents encouraging physical activity result in their children being more active. Parent-children interactions during sports can fit into the functionalist perspective in sociology. The role of parents is to develop the next generation, and a way to develop the next generation is to get them involved in sports, since sports is a great socializing skill and great at building traits and certain skills. Media shows that parents are greedy when it comes to being involved in their child's sports participation. Parents are normally obnoxious at sporting events and can cause more harm than good, and parents can put their children in danger if they push them too hard. One thing I noticed from the media is that media tend to present outliers as if they are the norm. In the Plaschke article, he kind of used this story as a means to try and scare parents, when in reality there have been plenty of stories where parents do kind of push their child and their child winds up being just fine. Media also tends to misuse statistics and do not normally put the right causes for why these statistics exist. In the Veciana Suarez article, she used a stat that 80% of officials quit after their first 3 years. That might not just be because of abuse, but it could also be of other reasons, such as low pay and the officials just not wanting to travel all around the state or country to be an official for such low pay. And these are my works cited pages. I hope you enjoyed my presentation.